Oklahoma. The Ohio State 4th Varsity 4 will be in lane 4. The Ohio State 3rd Varsity 4 will be in lane 3, and Oklahoma's 3rd Varsity 4 will be in lane 2. So Oklahoma will be on your shore side, and then the Ohio State crews are going to be on the left side of your screen, Oklahoma on the right if you're watching at home. Earlier today we had some good racing. These two Ohio State crews faced off against Virginia. And one thing Helen and I both know from our time on Ohio State's water and in the fours, we spend a lot of time in the fours, and they are very competitive crews because seats are constantly changing. There are battle paddles happening and a lot of movement in the fours. These are highly competitive athletes that are familiar with competing every day in tight units. You know, the 4 people is a bit of a more cohesive unit than an 8-person group. You know, you're a greater proportion of the power in the boat, and so you're able to feel the impacts of one particular athlete in the boat were they to change. So these 4s are a great opportunity for the athletes to really be connected together, to move as one, and so we'll have these 2 Ohio State 4s face off against each other and Oklahoma. It should be a great race.
And it will be particularly challenging for that Ohio State 4th Varsity 4 over in lane 4. That is the only lane that doesn't have buoys on both sides of the lane. So it's really on the coxswain to hug the one buoy line that they have closely and as accurately as possible so that they don't add any meters to the course that the rowers have to row. I know as a coxswain that was always my number one, thought process and interest is I don't want to add anything more to this 2K. 2K is already enough.
It definitely is. So we're switching from 8s to 4s, and the coxswain's position in the boat also changes. Before they sat in the stern, and they faced, they could see the heads of their 8 athletes in front of them. Kellen, what's different about rowing in a 4?
In a 4, you are laying down in the bow of the boat. And so we'll see that as we get closer to these 4s, but that can be a lot harder. You can't see the blades of the rowers, so you have to rely primarily on how the boat feels, how it's tipping to side to be able to determine who needs to make what adjustment. Now, I always love the 4s because you can see everything in front of you, you know exactly where you're pointing, and you're the first one that crosses the line, which is always one of my favorite aspects. And so we've got these 3 crews pretty well locked in. I believe that Ohio State 3rd Varsity 4 in the middle is ahead, but all boats are very close here as they're probably just entering into the second 500 of the race. And as Olivia was mentioning earlier, these 4s, especially at Ohio State, are incredibly competitive. I wouldn't even be surprised if lineup changes have been made from the morning to the afternoon. It is just that competitive. And that's exactly what we're seeing. We're seeing those 2 Ohio State 4s really neck and neck with one another.
As we get a little closer, we'll be able to see margins and contact. It looks like the 2 Ohio State 4s in connection with each other. 3rd 4 maybe has about half a boat or on the 4th 4, and then Oklahoma is maybe about astern with the Ohio State 4th Varsity 4.
Come on, Kates.
These crews are in the still first half of the race, so truly anything can happen at this point. And we've got, again, that 3rd Varsity 4 from Ohio State about half a boat length above the 4th Varsity 4 from Ohio State, and Oklahoma about a boat length behind Ohio State's 4th Varsity 4.
Yeah, this 4th 4 is not letting the 3rd 4 go, and speaking to the competitive nature of these crews.
And that 3rd Varsity 4 of Ohio State is starting to pull away from the 4th Varsity 4, but there is still overlap between the bow and stern of these 2 boats. This is a good shot, though, of those coxswains laying down in the bow. And another issue is sometimes you don't even have something to stop your feet in those 4s. So I always recommend a half-deflated beach ball or something that won't add weight to the boat, but that will keep you from falling into the bow.
You heard it here, coxswain tips from Helen. She'll be here all day. It looks like Ohio State's 4th Varsity 4 opening up a little more space between themselves and the Oklahoma crew, still trying to hang on to the Ohio State 3rd Varsity 4, maybe about astern. The 3rd Varsity 4 really trying to get ahead and open up some water between their teammates here.
And we do have those 1,000-meter times for you. They're a little bit past that 1,000-meter mark with Ohio State third varsity 4 at 4:10.4, the fourth 4 at 4:15 flat, and Oklahoma at 4:22.8.
Good racing from all these crews today, really strong.
That third varsity 4 getting a bit of separation in between their stern deck and the bow deck here of that fourth varsity 4, opening up the water in between those two boats. That third varsity 4 is definitely picking it up. They've got about half a boat length of separation between their stern deck and the bow deck here of that fourth varsity 4. In Oklahoma, about a boat length and a half off of Ohio State's fourth varsity 4.
Come on, Kates. Come on, you. Oh, flight 1. I don't know if she's flight 1 or
Here we go.
flight
In these
2.
wind conditions, it's really important to think about moving together, keeping your blade square, being really clean in the water. You want to be moving as in sync with your teammates as possible. At the end of the day, rowing is all about how efficiently can you move the shell, and sometimes that means how little are you making extra movements in the shell. You want to minimize extraneous movements as much as possible.
There you go.
And only focus on moving efficiently with your large muscles. We're seeing these crews do a good job of that right now, pushing the boat efficiently through this headwind, through this crosswind.
We've got that Ohio State third varsity 4 about 2 boat lengths ahead of the fourth varsity 4 for Ohio State, and that Ohio State fourth varsity 4 about a boat length and a half above Oklahoma.
Helen, I've got some intel on our varsity 4 shells, in that they're no longer using the deflated beach ball method, and coxswains now have kayak foot pegs in the 4s to brace themselves now. That is an innovation brought to you by boatman Joe Pipia.
Let me tell you, Joe is always finding very innovative ways to keep us safe and performing the best. He is both the boatman and the boathouse facility manager. He's been with the team for decades. I cannot thank Joe enough. He has helped me so much when I have inadvertently damaged some equipment or boats, and he never makes you feel too bad about it, which is so nice.
No, he is a pillar of the Ohio State Rowing Institution. It don't go without Joe. I'm getting some laughs in the broadcasting hut.
And so we've got that Ohio State third varsity 4 here in that last 250 and approaching the finish line.
Come on, Kates. Let's go, Oklahoma.
Ohio State's third varsity 4 here, looking really strong as they approach the line. And we can hear the coxswain chatter as they get close to the line here.
They are pushing their crews every stroke here as they finish out the last race for at least this crew today. So as a coxswain, you're always telling them at this point, leave it all on the water. Whether you get to go home after this or get back on a bus, leave it on the water.
Absolutely.
Come on, Kates.
A lot of energy coming off the Ohio State coxswains here that we can hear from the shore.
Leave it on the water, Katie.
Doing a great job pushing their crews, and it looks like we'll get the Ohio State third varsity 4 across the line first. Great push from Oklahoma here. And the fourth varsity 4 at Ohio State crosses the line. Oklahoma approaching the line.
Nice job, girls.
And Oklahoma finishing. Now we are seeing, as this wind picks up, overall the race times are definitely taking a little bit longer, and that is to be expected as the wind picks up and gives the rowers more resistance to push against.
All right, we've got another third varsity 4 event coming up in 2 minutes at 1:40 in lane 3, Virginia, lane 2, Michigan.
And we have the time